And one of my ideas about that is we all manage different projects, right? Some of us manage a project in maybe an industrial process-driven environment where you have some constraints, maybe regulation, where you have very, very hard logic elements you must consider, for instance, or you are maybe in a software development environment where you adapt a lot, B, you can, and maybe there is also one person who manages the component, the software development from a supplier perspective. But I, for instance, I'm normally the project manager from a customer perspective. So for instance, the integration part, which has lots of dependencies, you cannot integrate the system in an adaptive sense, right? So you have those non-adaptive parts. So for me, it has always been all of that, but depending who you're speaking to, the person comes from this or that perspective and background and context. And based on that, he and she will need a certain book, if you say, a certain reference. We have certain flight levels, right? Is it more operational development management? Is it integrating competing elements of an overarching project? So it depends on the perspective, which is actually why I like the 8. I think it's the best so far because of that. It supports integrating both perspectives.
I think reoccurring comments that we've heard, and we've been involved with all of these in some form or fashion. I still remember the first one, was classical feedback. It's not scaled. It's everything. Well, of course, if you're going to talk about a discipline, you want to get everything. And then you have to be able, but then the skill set is, well, how do I know that, how do I scale it down? Because if I do this on a small project and shoot myself, right?
People tried.
Yeah, people tried. And then the other thing was, that was originally attempted to cover with the special interest group, the SIGs, if you remember those, right? Was, but are we respecting the individual? I mean, not everything is an IT project. That's one of the things that gets them. By the way, all you IT project managers out there, you're not the only ones. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Okay? I love you. Beep beep. But ultimately, there's a lot of other disciplines that have been around in project management, and they have just as much justification to have presence in it. So, the how do you include the industry-specific things? And I think PMI has always had that challenge of trying to find that meta level, we would say in German, right? That meta level that creates enough rudimentary understanding of vocabulary, common language, common process, and what you mentioned, which I want to bring up again. The only thing that annoys me is they keep changing the names. It used to be called foundational concepts.
It's marketing, come on.
And
one thing I want to make very clear here. We are not representing the opinion of PMI.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
I'm happy. I want to hear your opinion.
But that is important to PMI as well. PMI does not comment on the PMBOK. It stands for itself. What we're doing here as well, we've been involved in creating these. But what we express here is our personal opinion on that one.
And so I think that's only fair. And I think PMI of all organizations is that type of organization that tolerates that and wants that. I think that's part of the spirit.